So we not take no long talk from the dogs. Cause man are raving in wolves. Chief of his sound the alarm. Sound it. Cause man are raving in. Man are raving. Listen we not take no talk from the dogs. Cause man are raving in wolves.
Okay, so some things I want to touch on when it comes to France. Dealing with France. Okay. Let me see. France exploitation of Africa. A lot of times when we go into the scriptures, we forget to go into France. Like France is part of the beast. Okay, a lot of times we just be bringing out stuff concerning America. You know what I mean? But we're gonna touch on France today. Okay, so what I want you all to do, I want you to play video. Let me see. Video number 1. Let me see what's number 1. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, video number 1. Play that. And then you play number 2 after that.
The French government has said it is considering all options, including declaring a state of emergency after a third night of escalating violence and rioting in cities and towns across France. Hundreds of police were injured last night and more than 900 people arrested. Ministers asked for public transport across France tonight to be suspended, and some major events have been cancelled as the government tries to stop scenes like this taking place for the 4th night running. The protest began in a Paris suburb on Tuesday when a police officer shot dead a 17-year-old boy of North African descent during a traffic stop in Nanterre. Footage of the shooting was posted online. The unrest quickly spread across France, fueled by accusations of police racism and wider discrimination against minority communities. Around 45,000 police officers have now been deployed on the streets. From Paris, here's our Europe editor, Katya Adler.
Paris, supposed to be the city of love, is exploding again into hateful confrontation. Riot police versus angry youths, many under the age of 18. There's talk the French government may be forced to call a state of emergency. In the meantime, France's president today urged parents to keep youngsters at home, while he sent more police onto the streets. But those youngsters aren't listening. Last night, the violence spread to flashpoints across the country. Town halls, schools, public buildings seen to represent the state of France have all been targeted. There was looting too in central Paris. In the Mediterranean city of Marseille, the state library was attacked. The UK and the US have now issued travel advice for their citizens visiting France.
Les choses sont beaucoup plus profondes.
They're right to be cautious, independent journalist Shaheen told me. He grew up in the Paris suburbs, documenting what he says is daily police aggression. He predicts the riots will only grow this weekend. Anger is at boiling point, he insists. With the country on a knife edge, French politics is at its most poisonous.
Okay, so France is burning. Paris is burning right now. Okay, there's riots, civil unrest going on in France right now. Okay, France is burning. Okay, what I'm about to show you all today, I'm going to show you all. First, I'm going to touch on what's going on over there in France with the civil unrest. I'm going to touch on that in the scriptures. Then I'm going to touch on France's exploitation of Africa. Okay, so what's going on over there? You know, what's going on in France? What's going on, bourgeois? Oh, man. So what's going on over there? Let's see the other video. Yeah, man. Let me give you a little more insight on what's going on.
In this video, we will try to understand what is happening in France. As you may have seen in the news, there are ongoing riots and protests in France, particularly against the government and especially against the French police. The incident I'm referring to took place on June 27th in the capital city of Paris. A 17-year-old boy named Nahel Marzouk was killed by the French police.
Pause.
This police should...
Pause. So this dude that was killed, this young teenager, he was only 17. Okay, so he was killed by the French police officers. Okay, he was killed by them, and if you all could see, he's an Arab. You understand? He is an Arab. Okay, keep on playing.
Thing occurred at around 9 a.m. As you may have seen, the police set up checkpoints and conduct vehicle checks in many places, which is a routine protocol. The 17-year-old boy was working as a delivery boy. It is being said that despite police's instructions, he did not stop his vehicle and he was on high speed. Due to this, the French police fired shots at him, and according to the police, they did so out of fear that the boy might ram his vehicle into someone else. I should also mention that a similar incident has happened before.
Pause.
If you recall, the truck.
Pause. When you look into it, the account that the police officers give was they lied and so forth. Okay, they lied when you look into it. Okay, I'm not gonna play that video because of time, but the police officers lied and so forth. Okay, they didn't have to shoot and kill that Arab, that young 17-year-old Arab dude, that Arab kid. Okay, but I'm gonna show you all some things. Keep on playing.
Incident from 2016, on July 14th, a truck driver intentionally drove his truck into a crowd, resulting in the death of 86 people and injuring 434 others. To avoid such incidents from happening again, the French police fired shots at the 17-year-old boy, which led to his death. As a result of this incident, people have been protesting and causing riots on the streets of various cities in France for the past 3 to 4 days. So that was a brief understanding of what is happening in France.
So people been
Now
rioting and causing, burning buildings down and so forth in France. No. Who is these people that's doing this? Yo, come on, brethren. Yo. So we gonna touch on who is the people that's rising up and doing this in France. Okay, I'm gonna show you all some prophecies. I'm gonna show you all some things that the Bible says concerning what you all see taking place in France right now. Okay, keep on playing. Let me see if I need some more stuff over there.
Yeah. It's 12 minutes, so it's like scattered.
Okay. So go back.
That if you're not comfortable hearing the truth or sensitive information, then please refrain from watching this video. Now let's begin with the discussion. First of all, when you hear the name of this 17-year-old boy, what do you think about his origin? It definitely does not sound like a French name. So let me provide you with some information. This boy is originally from Algeria. Let me show you on the map where Algeria is located.
So he's
Algeria
from
is one of the
Algeria. He's an Arab. He's from Algeria.
African countries located in the northern part of the African continent. In this country, 97% of the population follows Sunni Islam.
So he is
The point I'm making.
So he Islamic. Oh, okay. Let's see. Y'all see. I want you all to pay attention. It's riots going on in France. Riots. What's going on? I'm going to show you all in the Bible prophecies. Keep on playing.
That this 17-year-old boy is not a Christian. He is a Muslim of Algerian descent. Now, some of you may be wondering, why am I bringing up religion? Religion is not being introduced unnecessarily, but rather a comprehensive point-to-point explanation is being provided, which also includes religion, so that you can be well informed. Now, you may be wondering, how did this boy come to France, alone or with his family from Algeria? Let me inform you that this boy doesn't have a father. He resides in Paris, France with his mother. Now, here is a statistic that will give you an estimate of the number of immigrants from Algeria and France today. Currently, the number of immigrants coming from Algeria to France is above 5 lakhs, that is 500,000. You have to understand that people have been migrating from Algeria to France since the 1980s, and even much before that, because France is usually their first option. Back then, the number was low. However, in recent years...
So they say over 500,000 people migrated from what time? 2019. 500,000. That's from, I think was 2019, if I'm not mistaken. But 500,000 is a lot. Okay, and that's just from Algeria. But you got people that migrated from Libya, from the Sahara, from Morocco. You got crazy Muslims living there in Paris in the millions. You got millions of Muslims living there in Paris. So keep on playing.
Especially after 2012, a significant number of people have migrated from Middle Eastern, Northern African Muslim countries to Europe. I have made a video on this subject called European Refugee Crisis. If you would like, you can watch that video once and it will help you to understand the reasons behind the migration and how it all happened. Have a look at this map. These are the main migration routes that witnessed the arrival of the highest number of migrants and refugees in Europe. These refugees came from countries that were severely affected by armed conflicts, like the Syrian civil war from 2011 to present, then war in Afghanistan from 2001 to 2021, then Iraqi conflict from 2003 to 2011, then war in South Sudan, that is from 2013 to 2020, then Somalian civil war from 2009 to present, and then Arab Spring from 2010 to 2012. As you can see, some of these armed conflicts are still going on. As a result, the citizens of these war-affected countries do not see any point in staying in war-torn societies and hence have decided to move to European countries in the hope of a better life.
So you all see that. I want you all to see this is all God's plan. America and Europe, they are causing civil unrest and conflicts in the Middle East. And the citizens of these countries is fleeing to Europe, fleeing to France, Greece, America and other countries. And they are settling there and living there. You all understand what I'm saying? I want you all, pay attention to that because that's very important to the scriptures that I'm going to bring out. Okay, keep on playing.
Opportunity. If you see, these conflicts are caused by the Western countries, which also includes European countries. And as a gesture, Europe has also opened its door for them. Now, I don't know when this 17-year-old boy Nahel and his mother arrived in France. This information can be obtained from the French Immigration Office or relevant authorities. But currently there is no information available on the internet regarding this specific case. But suppose, if you can find out how many years this boy and his mother have been in France, then a very important question arises from this. If you have been in France for 5, 10 or 20 years, or maybe more than that, don't you have any understanding of the laws and policies of that country? And I would also like to inform you that in France, if you want a driving license, you must be at least 18 years old. And this boy was only 17 years old. He was not eligible to have a driving license. It has also been reported that this boy had been the subject of as many as 5 police checks since 2021, where he refused to comply with an order to stop. Hence, we can easily come to this conclusion that he did not stop the car because he was afraid of getting fined by the police or facing some legal consequences. To avoid this, he accelerated the car, and if you see, this is wrong, and this is also not the right thing to do. Now, there are a few who would say, if he doesn't work, how will he eat? How will he sustain his home? These concerns hold no meaning because there are various types of jobs available in society. Additionally, before undertaking any work, one must understand that it should not violate any law of the land. This is the most important aspect to consider. So clearly, driving shouldn't have been his job in the first place. He should have taken up some other job. Now, there is a French politician named Olivier Faure. He is a socialist leader. Now keep that in mind. And he said, a refusal to stop doesn't give you a license to kill. The reason I have shown this particular politician's comment is because in the end I will explain the political angle behind this entire issue. Now, if you look at the statement made by this politician, what he said is absolutely correct. And I'm not denying that. But in the same breath, you also have to acknowledge that the police in any country don't intentionally shoot at people without reason. Police officers are also human beings. They have families and have reputation
I
to
want to
uphold.
watch that whole thing. Jump forward a little. Yeah.
The issue behind this entire incident is to magnify it, portray it as an institutional racism issue to the world. If you remember, the Black Lives Matter narrative happened in America, and the same narrative is also being amplified in France. And I can say that this narrative will further spread in other European countries as well. The reason I'm looking at these two issues side by side is because if you remember when the Black Lives Matter narrative was going on in America, alongside the protests, there were instances of looting and vandalism in many stores. a lot of public and private properties were destroyed. Now the same pattern is being seen in France. Protesters are looting banks, burning public vehicles, and astonishingly, even the city's prominent library was set on fire. Now, this incident personally reminded me of the Nalanda University. Islamic invader Bhaktiar
Alright, that's
Khilji
it, huh?
demolished and burned.
All right, so take that off. So what you all see taking place, they are comparing what's going on in France to the Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Okay? What I see behind this, something is behind it. Somebody's behind this. They're causing civil unrest.
Right.
Okay, now, I know God is ultimately behind it. God says it's going to happen, and I'm going to touch on that.
Right.
But something is brewing over there in France. I'm telling you all, to control the population, to control the people, something is brewing. Okay, but I want to let me touch on some scriptures to show you what's taking place. Go to 2nd Ezra 9:1 and read that for me. 2nd Ezra 9:1.
2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 1.
Scripture. Look at it.
He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself.
So measure the time diligently in itself, you know?
And when thou seest part of the signs pass,
So when you see part of the signs pass, the signs is what? The signs is the signs that the Lord been telling him about the wars, the rumors of wars. You know, the signs is what you see going on in France right now. Okay, read on.
and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before,
Read on.
then shalt thou understand
Then you're going to understand what?
that it is the very same time
It is the very same time. Read on.
wherein the highest will begin
So
to,
the Lord going to begin. Read on.
to visit the world
Read on.
which he made.
So God, what you see going on, God is beginning to visit the earth, the world that he have made. Okay? Now his angels all over the earth causing things to happen. I want you all to understand. Angels is activating. The children of Israel is waking up. We have woken up to the truth of who we are, and the gospel is spreading. And the angels is activating certain things on the earth to issue in World War III. You all understand that? Well, you all understand. Now, read on.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes
When there shall be seen earthquakes, read on.
and uproars
And
of
what?
and uproars
And uproars
of the people
of the people. Read on.
in the world,
In the world. Read on.
then shalt thou well understand.
Then shall you understand. So there is uproar in France right now. Last year or year before, there were uproar in America. Black Lives Matter. Okay? All right? So the Bible says when you see these things, you're going to understand. You're going to understand what? That the time is also, that the Lord have begun to visit this earth that he have created. Hope you all understand. Okay, so we see what's going on in France. Guess what? What's going on in France is going to happen in Greece. It's going to happen here in America again. It's going to happen in all these European countries that have Arabs and have people of different ethnicity living amongst them. It's going to happen. Okay? So you all pay attention. What we see happening in France is prophesied in the Bible. The Bible said there are going to be uproars amongst the people. Read it again one more time.
Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes
Read on.
and uproars of the people
And uproars of the people. Read on.
in the world,
In the world. Read on.
then shalt thou well understand
Read on.
that the Most High spake of those things.
So God spoke of those things. He spoke about uproars amongst the people, wars, rumors of wars. You all see what's going on in Russia right now. There's many wars going on the earth right now that a lot of y'all don't even pay attention to. It's not televised on the news. Okay? So God says, listen, that let us know what? These is signs that letting us know that the Lord is have begun visiting the earth which he have created.
Right.
How is he visiting the earth? The angels coming down on the earth and doing things.
Right.
And setting things up. That's how the Lord visiting the earth. He's sending forth his angels to do this, to do that. You know, put a spirit on my sons and my daughters. Let them teach the gospel. You know what I mean? And there's angels holding back that destruction too, holding back the four winds of the earth, meaning those armies, those nuclear armies. Okay, so that's the time we're living in, brothers. Okay, read on.
And it says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee,
Read on.
even from the beginning.
Even from the beginning, the Lord speak of those things. Okay, the wars, the rumors of wars, the civil unrest, uprising that you all see going on in France. Read on.
For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end,
Read on.
and the end is manifest.
The end is manifest. Read on.
Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonders and powerful works, and ending in effects and signs.
So the ending of this world gonna come in what?
Effects and signs.
Effects and signs. The signs and the effects is what? Earthquakes, wars, rumors of wars, nations fighting against each other, sicknesses, diseases, okay, uproars like what you see going on in France,
Right.
uproars, civil unrest, okay, people rising up against their government. These is the things that are going to be taking place, letting us know what? The signs of the times, letting us know that the Lord have begun to visit this earth that he have created.
Dominican.
Okay?
Bring it up.
Now, from there, I want to show you all something. Go to Daniel 2 and 44. Okay? No, Daniel 2 and 40. Now, a lot of times, you'll see when you look in Europe, right? When you look in Europe, there is Arabs over there. There is our people also living over there. There is Chinese over there. There's many different nations living over there, but I want to focus on the Arabs. Okay, on Ishmael. Okay, and there's a reason why I'm going to focus on Ishmael, because I'm going to show you what the Bible prophecy says concerning France, Greece, and Britain, and all these nations when it comes to Ishmael. Okay, now read that for me.
Daniel.
Not just Ishmael, but all nations. Read on.
Daniel chapter 2 verse 40.
Scripture. Loaded.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. This fourth kingdom is talking about, it began with Rome, and we are in the end of this fourth kingdom, which is America and the European Union. Okay? Yo, pull up the can you find the image with the 7 heads and 10 horns? Can you find that for me? So read it again.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
Read on.
For as much as iron breaketh in pieces, and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou
it's gonna break in pieces and bruise. Who will this fourth kingdom break in pieces and bruise? All nations.
Right.
You understand? It started with Rome and even up to today. Okay, the European Union and America have conquered all nations on the earth and bruised them. You know, but China is a superpower. You better go back in history and saw what Great Britain did to China.
Right.
You know, the Boxer War, you know what I mean? That's what I think it was called.
The Boxers Rebellion.
Boxers Rebellion, yeah. They forced drugs in them and all of that. What? Right. Go into the history. All right, read on.
Verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay.
So the feet and the toes is the end of this fourth piece. All right, that's why it starts with the leg, which is iron, and it go all the way down to the feet and the toes. The feet and the toes is talking about who? It's talking about the European Union and America. That's the feet and the toes. All right, as you all can see the feet. Okay, it began with Rome. Rome fell. When you go into the prophecies, it says in Revelation 13, Rome came back. And say, okay, so the feet and the toes. The toes, how much toes? How much toes we got there? 10 toes, right? Those 10 toes is going into those same 10 horns, which
Right.
I'm going to show you on. Okay, so the 10 toes, the feet, the 10 toes, you don't read it again.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and 10 toes,
So we're dealing with the feet and the 10 toes. The feet and the 10 toes is the last rulers of this fourth beast. Okay, so we're going to tell you what's going to happen in the last kingdom. The last part of this fourth beast. Read on.
part of potter's clay and part of iron.
So the feet is not just full iron. It have clay in the midst of it. You all understand? There is clay in between the feet. It's made up of iron and clay. Okay, and the feet represent, as I said, the feet represent who? The 10 horns, which is Europe and America. That's who the feet represent. It didn't mention America here. Why? Because America came from Europe. You understand? So Daniel put all of them in one. America came from Great Britain. Okay, they fought Great Britain for their independence. Okay, America, the citizens of America, the pilgrims and all of them, they came from Europe. Okay, so those 10, so that's why it just says 10. It then says 10, but when you read Daniel 7, it explains a little horn that came from these 10. Okay, all right, so read it again.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron,
Read on.
the kingdom shall be divided.
So according to the prophecy, the last kingdom, okay, put the image up back on the screen. The last kingdom, the last part of this fourth kingdom gonna be divided. Okay, gonna be divided. Read on.
But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron,
And when it says there shall be in it the strength of the iron is talking about their military strength. Okay, it's talking about NATO. All right, that's their military alliance that they have where nobody could mess with them. NATO. Okay, so in that feet down there, NATO was formed in the in 1940 something, 48, somewhere around there. All right, so NATO was founded, and that's the strength of the iron. But that's the strength of the iron, their military advancement, their military technology. They are able to create weapons of mass destruction. Okay, but keep on reading.
for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay,
So the iron mixing with clay, we're going to explain what that's talking about. Read on.
and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay,
So the toes was part of iron and part of clay, meaning those kings, those nations, okay, Europe, they are part of iron and part of clay. What does that mean? Keep on reading.
so the kingdom shall be partly strong
The kingdom shall be military strong, read on,
and partly broken.
and partly divided or broken. Why? Read on.
Whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay,
You see the iron mixed with clay, read on.
they shall mingle
What-
themselves.
This is letting you know what that fourth kingdom, which is Edom, the so-called white man, what they gonna do. All right, this is letting you know what Europe, the European Union, which is France, Britain, and all of these 10 horns gonna do. They're gonna do what?
They shall mingle themselves
They shall mingle themselves, you know,
with the seed of men.
with the seed of men. If you go to Britain, you're going to find Chinese over there. You're going to find a bunch of Arabs over there. You're going to find East Indians over there. All nations is not just in America. Okay, you go to Britain, you go to France, is many different nations living there. The Prime Minister of France is what? He's an East Indian. The Prime Minister of France is an East Indian. That's his race. You feel what I'm saying? So because you have multinational ethnicities living in France, living in Britain, living in all these nations of these 10 toes, that's what the clay is. Okay, I'm going to show you what's going to happen. Even living here in America, you have people of different ethnicity and so forth. That whole position of government, that whole position of power, and so forth and so on. The Bible says because of that, they're not going to be divided. I mean, they're not going to be united. They're going to be divided. Okay? So why I went to this is to show you all what? You all see what's taking place in France. You see the uproar amongst the people that's uproaring, that's upset. Guess who that people is? That people is those immigrants that migrated there from other countries. Those people is the minorities that's living in France. That's, you know, they are the ones that rising up and burning stuff down. You feel what I'm saying? So the Bible says that they will not be united. I mean, they're going to be division in this last kingdom. Okay, and that division is going into what you all see taking place right now in France. That's what that division is going into. So it says what? Read it again.
They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Read on.
But they shall not cleave one to another.
So everybody is not going to come together and be like we are one. In France, the Arabs is not going to come together with the Caucasian race, and the East Indians is not going to come together with the Caucasian race and the Arabs and say, we all are one people. It's not going to happen. Y'all understand? It's not going to happen. Okay? The same way how clay and iron don't mix. Okay? It's the same way they are not going to mix over there. Okay? You're going to have the so-called white Christians going to hate the Muslims. Okay? I don't know if y'all remember, but like 7-8 years ago, there were a lot of terrorist activity that was taking place in France. Okay? There was a lot of shootings, bombs, all type of crazy stuff was going on in France a couple years ago. Okay, guess what? That is going to increase again. These young teenagers that leave their country and went to France, they go to France and then they are over there. They are sons of terrorists. I want you all to understand that. A lot of these young Muslims over there, they are terrorists. So let me tell you all something. And they over there in France while they're watching France and America bombing their nations. Their nation, their original nation that they're from. But I want to show you what the Bible says concerning that. Read it again one more time.
They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. Read on.
But they shall not cleave one to another.
But they shall not cleave one to another. Meaning everybody's not going to be united. Okay? In France, in Britain, in America. Okay? There is going to be division. All right? Okay? From there, go to Habakkuk 2 and 4.
Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4.
Scripture. Loaded.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
Read on.
But the just shall live by his faith.
But the just shall live by his faith. Talking about the Bible. Read on.
Yea, also, because he transgressed by wine.
Read on.
He is a proud man.
He is a proud man. Who this is talking about? This is talking about the Caucasian race. Read on.
Neither
the Bible, God says that his soul is not right in him. Read on.
Neither keep it at home.
Neither keep it at home. Now, a lot of time when we go into this, we just mention America. But America is not the only one that does not stay in their own land. Okay, friends never keep at home. Okay, which I will touch on with you all a little later on and show you all the evil that France did to Africa. Okay, read on.
Who enlargeth his desire as hell.
Who enlarged his desire as hell, read on.
And is as death.
And is like as death. Anywhere he go, death follow him. All right, this is talking about a certain nation of people, group of people. Read on.
And cannot be satisfied.
And he cannot be satisfied. Read on.
But gathereth unto him all nations.
But did what?
But gathereth unto him all nations.
Now, who did this? America did this, but guess who also doing this? France, Europe, the European Union. Y'all understand? Y'all see what I just showed, what we just saw early on? That them people that's rising up in France, they are what we're reading about here. The all people. God unto himself all people. Okay, read that again.
But gathereth unto him all nations,
Okay, read on.
and heapeth unto him all people.
All people. That goes back to Daniel 2 that we just read. That the clay shall mix with what? With the iron. And they not going to be one. They not going to, they shouldn't cleave one to another. Because the same way how clay don't mix with iron, it's the same way these people that is living in France and living in Europe, they are not going to mix with the Caucasian race. There will always be division. There will always be injustice. Okay? And that's just what it is. Okay? They will always be oppressed. The white man over there going to always value their life like nothing. There will be police shooting. There will be police abuse. You know? And it's going to cause civil unrest.
Right.
Okay? Read on.
Verse 6. Shall not all these,
Go back and read it again. We forgot some.
verse 5, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell,
So enlarge the desire like hell. Read on.
and is as death,
Read on.
and cannot be satisfied,
And he can't satisfy. You can't satisfy the white man. Okay, read on.
but gathereth unto him all nations,
Read on.
and heapeth unto him all people.
That's why in Europe and America, you're going to find all multi-ethnicity people living there. Okay, read on.
Shall not all these take up a parable against him?
So it says all these people that's living amongst who? Living amongst those 10 toes. That's living amongst Europe and America. They're going to pick up a parable against the government. You understand what I'm saying? Read on.
In a taunting proverb
Read-
against him,
Read on.
and say, woe to him.
They're going to say, woe to him. They are speaking against the French government, the U.S. government, the Britain government. Okay, those 10 horns, those 10 toes, that's who they are speaking against. Read on.
Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
That increase that in that which is not him. Because let me tell you something about Europe and America. They gain their riches by robbing and stealing from other countries. And these same people from the other countries is going to their country and living in their country, running from the poverty and from the war and from the condition where the country is in. They're trying to get a better life. Okay, people went to France. Why? Because of the wars that France and these other countries caused in their region. So they can't live there no more. So they go to France, they go to America. Okay? Like what you see just took place in Afghanistan. A lot of them came over here to America.
Yep.
Okay, and America willingly gave them visas. They stupid as hell. If I was a leader, I ain't bringing no damn terrorists in my country. You know what I mean? That show you is God behind it. You know, so same thing with France, same thing with Greece and all these other countries, those 10 horns. Okay, the same people that they are oppressing, the same countries that they are robbing their resources from and causing civil unrest, these same people is going to their country and living there. You know what I'm saying? But read on, read it again. So read it again one more time.
Shall not all these take up a parable against him,
Read on,
and a taunting proverb against him,
read on.
and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his?
So read on.
How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay.
What is that thick clay that he laden himself with? Go back to Daniel 2. So he laden himself with thick clay. What is the thick clay he laden himself with? The thick clay is the verse above. The all people.
Yes, sir.
That heap to himself all people. That's the thick clay. The thick clay is the Arabs, the Chinese,
Right.
the East Indian.
Right.
That America and Europe have living amongst them. Read, go back to and read that in Daniel 2.
Daniel chapter 2, verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay
The thick clay is the potter's clay. Read on.
and part of iron,
Read on.
the kingdom shall be divided.
Read on.
But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
The miry clay is the thick clay in Habakkuk. Read on.
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay,
That's talking about the European Union. Read on.
so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
And partly broken. Read on.
Whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay,
Read on.
they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
Habakkuk say they shall heap unto themselves all nations. Daniel say they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. It's saying the same thing. Europe and America gonna have all nations living amongst them. Okay, read on.
But they shall not cleave one to another.
But they not gonna come together as one. Thus says the Lord. Okay, now go back to Habakkuk and read that for me.
Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him?
The thick clay, that's it?
Yeah, that's the same verse.
Okay, read on.
And a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
Read on.
How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay.
That heap to himself all nations. That's the thick clay. Read on.
Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly?
Shall they not what?
Shall they not rise up suddenly?
You all see what's taking place in France?
That's right.
What's taking place in France? You got the clays over there rising up, the thick clay rising up. You got the people of other nations there rise up. Because Europe and America have robbed and steal the resources and of course has caused wars and destroyed these people countries. Okay, and they're going over there, and when they go over there, they're being oppressed same way. Okay, so what you see happening, read it again.
Shall they not rise up suddenly?
They're gonna rise up suddenly, okay, in France, in London, okay, in Britain, okay. This multicultural thing that they got going on there where they heap onto themselves, all people, they're gonna rise up suddenly, read on.
That shall bite thee?
And they're gonna be terrorist activity in France. They're gonna be terrorist activity in America. They're gonna be terrorist activity in Britain. Okay, in all these countries, these 10 horns. Okay, read on.
And awake that shall vex thee?
Why does it says awake? Because a lot of them is sleeper cells.
Right.
You understand? You're gonna have Arabs that wake up. You understand? They're gonna wake from sleep. Okay? And go and bite them. Meaning what? They're gonna plant weapon bombs, they're gonna bomb buildings, they're gonna start fires. Okay, that's what you see going on in France right now. They are awakening and they are biting them.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying? All these young teenagers, these young Muslim teenagers, they are waking up and they are biting them. Read it again.
Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee?
That shall bite thee, read on.
And awake
And awake,
that shall vex thee?
that shall vex thee. What you see going on right now, the government in France, they are vexed. They are being vexed by who? By these young Arab kids that rising up and is fighting and burning down buildings and so forth for the injustice that they see took place to their brother over there in France. Okay, read on.
And thou shalt be for booties unto them,
Read on.
because thou hast spoiled many nations.
Because thou have spoiled many nations. This is what I'm going to go into now. Because thou hast spoiled many nations. Read on.
all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee.
So now let's get into that.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children with role models.